And we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our August WEN-Talk. I'm so excited to be here. This is such an honor. Our first speaker is Diane Novak, our soulpreneur. I love that so much. And with that, I'm going to give you the stage. Welcome, Diane.
Thanks, Haley. I'm so excited to be here. I got the message and I go, yes, yes. And the thing about soulpreneur, it came to me, and I'll expand on how it came to me in a bit, but it came to me that it really kind of embodies everything I do, personally, business-wise, everything else, and it just kind of stuck, and it gets people's attention, and that I like that, and it also, like I said, embodies everything I do. So getting there was a process that actually started, well, probably started way before then, but when I realized the process was happening was back in April. I attended a WEN summit. And that summit started out with Shaman Laura leading us in a meditation to quiet ourselves and be here in the teachings and not thinking about the things we have to do, like wash the dishes and fold the clothes and all the other stuff that we have to do, send that email, all that stuff. And in that process, in that quiet time in meditation, Laura led us through a meditation where we met our business entity. And that blew me away. I had never heard that before. And it was like, wow. And so in that meditation, I am sitting on a bench, and here comes my business entity walking down the path. And she sat down beside me. And I knew right away who she was. I didn't see a face, but I knew who she was. And I said, hey. She says, hey. And so then Laura let us, out of the meditation. We did the summit, and the whole summit was just like the heavens had opened up, and I got all this information, and it was just great and wonderful. And then I kept talking to my business entity, and I journaled about it. I mean, I journal every morning anyway. And part of it is just getting thoughts out, and part of it is making sure I remember good things, good ideas that might come to me and everything. So I started journaling about it, and I went back and looked, and this summit happened on April 15th. And so between the 15th and the 21st, I was getting to know my business entity, and I started out with just saying, hey, is that you? And she goes, yeah. And so we just started. I just asked a couple of questions, and it was still blown away, and I didn't really know where to go from there. So on the 21st, I remember thinking that this entity needed to have a name. So I started thinking of names that I thought were really cool and I thought were really good and everything. And then I heard, my name's Dorothy. I'm going, oh, well, that's not quite the name that I had in mind. And she goes, my name is Dorothy. And I go, okay. So now Dorothy and I have a relationship that we talk almost every day. And through that, talking and learning about what she as the business wants, and even down to her favorite colors are now my brand colors, and finding out what she wants as a business has been such a release and a relief for me, because I was doing all the things. I was running around, 30 new clients in 30 days, all those things that are taught and everything. And I was running around within my business trying to do all those things, and they weren't working. I would get a little bit of activity, and things were they weren't working. And so then when I started talking with Dorothy, and the release came, because I felt like now she is in control, and she is letting me know what best moves to make, what best steps to take. And now every time something comes up, like maybe a new class that I might be interested, or a new thing that I might want to do, I have a chat with Dorothy. And it's gotten easier and easier. So now it's not something that I have to really go into a deep meditation to get to. I just kind of quiet myself and I say, okay, Dorothy, what do you think? And she'll tell me, don't do that. So I don't do that. Like a class or a post, even some of the posts that I think that I might want to do. Um, I'm very conscious of what she thinks about them. And another thing is that there are so many good ideas and good directions to go, that it was sometimes hard for me to decide which good thing to do. And so now that Dorothy's here and guiding me, she will tell me, well, do this next. Yes, I want you to do this and this down the road, but first you have to do this. And I thought, why? And sometimes I think, I didn't even think about doing this first, but it makes sense. But it didn't come to me until Dorothy said so. So with Dorothy saying, take this step first, then those other things fall into place much, much easier and faster. So I want to thank Haley and WEN Summit for introducing me to Dorothy. And that's what's happening with my business. And to make it kind of bring it around to people that might go, oh, well, yeah, there's a little cray happening there, right? Okay, I'll accept that. I don't, it's okay with me. But I want you to think about that when I met Dorothy in April, and my numbers in July for my business and the things that I was doing in my business increased by 340%, right? 340% since I've been talking to Dorothy. So, okay, I might be a little cray, but the number's there. And I knew it was high and I knew it was good. And when I went and I ran them, I go, oh my gosh. So I went to my husband and I says, I don't math very well. So I said, if this is the case, and this was the case, and this is the case, is that 340% increase? And he goes, yeah. I'm going, wow. Okay. I'm liking this. I understand. So the number's there. So even though this is maybe a much different way to look at things, and I can probably bet that most of you haven't heard of this, unless you happen to be in on that summit. Now, all the workshops that I do and all the classes that I do, I start with a quieting meditation so that people can come into the space, into the room, into this session, whatever it is, and leave all that junk behind them, and just kind of focus on what's being said. And it's been very, very well received. And it also, all of this goes along with what Haley's been teaching the last bit. I don't know how long, but she's been talking about manifesting and intention somewhat. And that's what this is about. This is about being intentional in how you want to do your business. And there are a lot of people that do it that are very successful in the 30 clients in 30 days, and I'm going to push and I'm going to push and I'm going to push. And yes, but I want people to think about, if they are doing that, are they doing that in a balanced and healthy way? Meaning, are you taking time to have fun? Are you taking time for self-care? Are you taking time for your family? Are you making that balance happen? Or are you focusing on push, 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 and I got to get this done, and maybe I'll take time in a bit when this is done? I understand that some things are time sensitive, and we have to get them done. Like, I worked over the weekend, and I don't normally work on weekends, but I'm giving a class, and I needed to get it done in time. So I understand that. But if that's the way you live your life, then I would like you to reconsider, what's happening. Because did you start your own business? Why did you start your business? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because it sounds cool to be an entrepreneur? Okay. Because because you wanted to leave your 9 to 5 or your corporate or whatever, or you're a stay-at-home mom and you needed extra money or whatever. Okay, whatever the reason is. But did you start your business to work harder? Probably not. That's probably not the reason why you wanted to start your business. And working harder brings more hardships. If it's hard, if like it was for me, it was so hard. I was putting so much time and energy and not doing the things that I wanted to do, like hanging out with my family, just enjoying the afternoon, having lunch when I wanted to, being able, when my husband says, hey, you want to go do this, to be able to say yes and not have to say, no, I'm working. Well, you know what? I spent a lot of time in corporate when I had to say to my family, no, I'm working. And I didn't like it. And I don't like to do it when I'm the boss. So I know that I was not in alignment. I was not in the flow. And I found a way to be in that flow. And it's just so much easier and so much more productive for me. And, maybe you're the type of person that needs that is driven like that and needs that drive. And I understand and respect that. I would also say, add to that, learning how to talk with your business, and what you do is going to be so much more productive and so much more, it's going to be more efficient. It's going to produce more. And when you are in that flow, you know it, you feel it. And then you can do the other important things in your life. And you have to kind of do some self-talk too. Is it important that I say that I work 50 hours a week on my own business? Or is it important that I say I have my own business and I go to the park with my kids, I go to the movies with my kids, I go, I just, on the spur of the moment, I do something, I decide, hey, I'm not going to work today because I really don't feel like it. So having that discussion with yourself, finding your business voice, entity, person, your Dorothy, will change things. And they will put you in the flow of where you should be in your business, and let that stream take you. And you don't have to bounce off so many rocks. You can be in a nice little canoe and go down that flow, but you don't have to bounce, around on so many rocks and everything, and get so beat up and take so much time. It's going to happen so much easier and faster and better. And I think I'm pretty much done right now. I want to let you know that I can be found mostly on Facebook at Diane Novak. And I have Diane Spirit Candy is the group that I have. And those are the best places to get in touch with me now. You can PM me. You can, ask to join the group. You can, do whatever you want to. And I really, really, Haley, thank you so much for inviting me. And it's exciting to be here with you.
It's exciting to have you here. This is so much fun.
Yes.
And for me, it's been really, really exciting to see the progression in your business since April, and what you were trying to do and where you're going now. I'm like, and just seeing the fit and the energy and how they fit together is just amazing to me. So I love it. I am so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having that summit and inviting Laura, because that was like a unusual way, to have that, to have her at the summit. And it was great and wonderful, and I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I'm so glad. And with that, we will try to pop our next speaker up and rearrange people. See you soon. Hey, Angela, good to see you.
Hey, Haley, good to see you too.
This is so much fun. I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you. No pressure. That's fine.
No pressure, right? No, just kidding. This is not intended to be a high pressure situation. So it's all good. I am just really excited to have you here.
Thank
And so much fun. So with that, I'm going to give you the stage and pop myself down. I will be here and let you do your thing.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you very much. And I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity. So thank you. And I guess what I need to tell you is, of course, I'm Angela Sutcliffe, and I've been a business consultant for more than 30 years, working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. And this is going to be like true confessions, okay? So hang on to your hats. The thing is, I am as entrepreneurial as the next person. So I can guarantee that everything you're doing or you've done or any trap you've fallen into, well, you can imagine in 30 years, I've already been there. So don't worry, I know how to get out of it. And it came to me a couple of weeks ago. Somebody said to me, in 30 years, you've developed a lot of tools. You've developed workbooks. You've developed tip sheets for your clients. Where the heck are they? I thought, oh my gosh, they're all sitting in my computer. So I started to get them out, and I started to put together some books that I'm hoping to get out there. But it's been like a journey of rediscovery, because it's a lot like, the hairstylist whose hair has to look perfect. You can't just show up looking a mess and say, I'll make you look good. Well, it's been the same journey with my business. So every time I have run into a wall or a block, I've had to sit down. I can't say, well, I'll do it tomorrow or never mind, or it doesn't matter. I've had to sit down and figure out how I'm going to get over it, because otherwise I can't teach anyone how to find their way through. So one day when I realized that I was having a lot of trouble, I had reached a ceiling of my earnings, and I thought, why can't I go beyond this ceiling? What the heck is happening? Because I'm not stupid. I know how business works. I keep putting together business plans for people. I just don't know what's happening to me. And I came up with a program that I call, If I'm in Charge Here, Why Am I Broke? And it was really a program of me talking to myself. So the first discovery that I made was that people who hit the same, up to $50,000 ceiling that I kept hitting have a certain series of traits. And, some of them, you're driven by your ego because you want to figure it all out yourself. And I thought, yeah, okay, that sounds about right. And you're trying to learn it all, and you don't have time to learn stuff and run your business. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds like me too. And I went through this little list, and then I saw that anyone who made more than $50,000 didn't do this stuff. They weren't doing this stuff. They had structure. They had people helping them. They weren't afraid to ask. And I thought, wow, that's the first place I'm stuck, because I've wanted to figure it all out myself. And it's taking too long. So I got through that. I started to, recruit people that were going to help me. I started to listen to colleagues. I even had people that came over to show me how to do things on my computer. And as slowly, I could see how I was getting better. But again, I kept hitting that darn wall. I thought, okay. So we know what we're doing wrong. But why is this happening? Because I've figured out what I have to change. And then I thought to myself, okay, there's days that I am just so enthusiastic and I am so fired up with energy and I can hardly stop. It can be midnight, it can be 2 a.m, and I'm still working. And then there's days that I get started on something and suddenly I'm so tired and I'm thinking, well, you stayed up late last night. So it's okay if you walk away from the desk and you have a little nap or, you go outside or something because you're tired. And then there's those days where I think I've got a cold coming on. So I'm going to baby myself a little bit, take care of myself. And you know what I discovered? I had a pattern. So what I started to do is every time I got to one of those places, I'd stop and I'd think, what are you working on exactly? Is this something you love to do? Or is this something you have to do? And of course, I think you're starting to see what was happening to me. I started to discover if it was something I loved to do. I mean, it was all related to my business, but it was the stuff I loved to do. I would just do it. But if it was stuff I didn't like to do, like the administrative stuff, looking at my financials, that stuff, then I had to start saying to myself, okay, how often do I say the following things? Is it always? Is it often? Is it sometimes? Or is it never? So I ran myself through this little test, and it was like, if it's something I love to do, how often do I say, I don't have time? I'll let you think about that one. If it was something that I love to do, how often did I say to myself, I don't do this well, and just put it aside? Or did I say, I don't do this well, so I'm going to devote the next hour or two to learn how to do it better because I have all sorts of energy? What about I need to work on other things? If I'm on a roll and it's one of those love to do, so I'm on a roll, how often did I say, you know what, I'm going to put that aside because I have other things to do? Well, you can bet no check marks went in the column of never. They were all always, always, always. I have time. I can make all sorts of time to get this piece done because I love it. So I'm tired, I'm sick. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That's a big stopper. That was a big stopper for me. I haven't got a plan for today. I haven't got a plan for this week. So I'm making it up as I go along. And now suddenly I'm tired and I don't feel so good. And oh, look, bright, shiny object. Yeah. And the last one, and that comes along a little bit when friends, well-meaning friends and customers and clients and family were saying to me, well, if you did this or you did that, or you could do this on top of this. And I suddenly got to a stage where I thought, I don't even know what my business actually does anymore. And that might sound like, well, come on, Angela, you've been in business a long time. Do you still say that to yourself? I've worked with a few clients over the last year. And because things have shifted and because, lifestyles and what they want to accomplish has changed, that they're saying to me, Angela, I don't know what my business is anymore. So every time I come down to my desk and I think I should be doing something, I don't have a clue what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And believe you me, I have been going through this myself over the 30 years. Every once in a while, I find that I'm riding this roller coaster. So if it's something I love to do, I have never once said, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm tired. I'm sick. I don't have time. But when it comes to those things I don't like doing, and that's where I had to dig really deep into my soul and say, Angela, I know you want to go and have a nap. I know you think the dog needs another walk. Another walk. I know that you've just thought of 3 people you should call it. I mean, it's all business related, isn't it? But yeah, I was getting away from the stuff that I knew I should be doing. So again, when I ran it through that always, often, sometimes, never, how often do I say I don't have time? always. How often do I say I don't do this well? Yeah, that would be an always. How often am I sick? Am I tired? Didn't often see the never on those ones either. But those are things I didn't want to do. So here's a quick tip for you. The money is in the stuff we're not doing. And so I thought, okay, so there's two little gifts for me right there. I am focusing on the wrong thing. I'm trying to do things, and it's taking away from the time that I should be taking to run my business. So that's the first thing. I have to stop running my business from my ego. And believe me, that was hard because I got this huge ego. And the second thing, of course, was if it's something I love doing, I notice I didn't go to bed till 2 a.m, but I'm sitting here and it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm thinking, gee, maybe I should have stayed in bed longer this morning. So that was my next gift. As soon as I started to think, I can't, I won't, I don't, I whatever, then I had to say, okay, you have to do this. I found there were 3 more questions that I hadn't asked myself. The first question was, why don't I want to do this? Because let's face it, we all say, well, I'm a procrastinator. I'll put things off where I can. And I'm here to challenge you because I had to sit down and have this talk with me. There are no procrastinators. There's 3 main reasons I was putting things off. And the first one I discovered was, I don't know how to do this. I have not got a clue how to do this. I can look at this until the cows come home, and I still don't know how to do this. And then I had to say, okay, there's only one way you're getting out of this, and you're going to have to either learn how to do it from someone else who can teach you quickly, or you're going to have to hire someone else to do it for you. But this is one of those things where if I don't do it, I am always going to hit my head on the money ceiling. I am always going to have a business that gets stuck at below $50,000. So that was the first thing. It was, I'm stuck. I can't go any further. And then the second one is what I call a moment of rigorous honesty. When I looked at myself and said, Angela, you know how to do this. You really technically know how to do this. You just suck at doing it. You don't do it well. And who wants to get up every morning and know that they have to do something they're bad at? And then I said, well, there's only one way you're going to get better at things. And that is you better do this every day for the next 30 to 60 days until you learn how to do it properly. And I've done this. I've pulled this trick a couple of times on myself when I've been trying to move forward. And the last one, I can honestly say I have learned that within 5 to 7 days of doing whatever it is you don't do well, of doing it every day, you are going to do it extremely well. You are going to find things that you didn't know the apps that you might be stuck using or can do. You're going to find ways to talk to people if you're making sales calls that you didn't know you could. You're going to become a new person if you challenge yourself to do this every single day, no matter how you feel. And pretty soon that just passes into, I can do this at the drop of a hat. And the third thing, actually, it's sort of 2 things. I had to say to myself, number one, I'm not getting this done because I haven't time blocked my calendar. I haven't made an appointment in my calendar to actually do this. So I keep forgetting that I meant to do it. It also means that I haven't got on my weekly list or my daily list that I promised myself I'd do it. And again, I have to come back to everything I'm telling you is how I walked myself through this. This isn't something I learned. It's not a book or a program or a whatever. These are the conversations I've genuinely had with myself. And since I'm not a left brain person, I'm a right brain, big picture person, I can tell you that walking it backwards bit by bit works. So the third part, again, it was habit. I didn't have it in my calendar. And behind that, I had to say, what's my belief? Am I still carrying the belief that it really doesn't matter? And oh, by the way, I'd rather get on with the other stuff that I like. So that keeps coming up even to this day, 30 years later. I keep coming up to, why aren't you doing that thing that you're supposed to be doing right now? What's your belief? Well, my belief is I'll have time later. Have I ever had time later? Do I have to ask you? No, I've never had time later. So it's a belief that I find that I have to conquer almost every day. So that's how I started thinking about, why do I keep hitting the same money ceiling? And then this other little scratch was happening at the back of my mind that said, do you keep telling yourself the same story over and over again? And you know what? Not only was I telling myself the same story, I was telling everybody the same story. The reason my business is the way it is because one day I listened to myself and I thought, that was valid 10 years ago and you haven't done anything about it in 10 years? Well, that's a crock. That doesn't work. In 10 years, I could have changed that, and I didn't. But as soon as I heard myself telling myself, I call it myths, lies, and stories I tell myself, as soon as I caught myself repeating the same story for the 659th million time, I thought, okay, this stops here. And I realized that most of the stories we tell are, I don't have time, I can't afford it, my business model has been working just great, I don't need to change a thing, even though I can't make any more money doing this. I can figure this out for myself. I'm not good at, it's the economy, it's the market. Pick one, pick two. They're the story you'll hear yourself telling the most. And so at some stage, the story ends and you say, I think it's time I wrote a new ending for this story. And that's when the doors to your business burst open. I know it's made all the difference for me. I've never, because of my life circumstances, my main story was my divorce, because I had a terrible divorce, a terrible marriage. It didn't allow me to feel good about myself. It didn't allow me to do what I did before I got married. It didn't allow me to, that was my life story. I thought, oh my God, we're 10 years dragging this ball and chain around. Let's change it. Let's change my life story. Let's change who I am. And that's where, a little bit of rebranding happened. One of my marketing clients said to me, your story is really like out of the flames. She said, you've just sort of risen above all this terrible stuff and gone, I've had enough. We're moving on. Let's go. And it created a whole new brand, a whole new rewrite, and a whole new story that I'm still designing the ending to. So the question I had to say to myself is, if you have the power to write a new ending, how would you like to see that happening today? What are the action steps I can take right now that are going to change the ending of my story? So I had to, and another way of putting it is, if you want to achieve what you want to achieve, what are you willing to give up to do it? And I had to say, well, I guess I'm willing to give up my poor me story. And I suppose that I'm willing now to really push myself through those knowledge, skills, habits, questions, but actually, just keep my feet to the fire, moving through this process. What new story? Well, I'm writing a story of empowered me. I can empower myself. I can be with people who empower me. And when I feel empowered, I get those things done that I wasn't doing. And you know what happens when you get those things done that you weren't doing? Yeah, your business changes. Your business grows. And you know what they say? If you want to change yourself, change 30% of the people you're hanging around with, so that you can keep your old friends, maybe not the ones that have been pulling you down, but you can keep good friends. But you can also bring in a pile of people who are where you want to be. And the last couple of years, I really curated my friends. I curated my social media feeds, so I don't see negative feeds anymore. Anyone who is feeding me negative stuff, and feeding me their poor me story is gone off my feeds. And it's amazing the doors that those have blasted open. So what I want to say to you today is, coming from an entrepreneurial background myself, I don't do the sales funnels. I don't do the 1, 2, 3 steps, 5 reasons, 10 ways. I do the, okay, let's sit down and have a talk with myself and figure out what's going on. And I came up, by the way, with 10 commitments that I had to make to myself. And, I call it 10 commitments every entrepreneur has to make to have a successful business. And they range from, I have to have a plan. I mean, I need to know where I'm going, not just for the year. I need to have a plan for the month, the week, and today, so I don't sit there rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. But I'm also committed to ending that struggle and that disorganization and that failure, a story that's been dogging me. And I've got to think of how that's going to look. And that means that that's already a goal that I've set, is ending the struggle, ending the disorganization. So when we talk of goals, they don't have to be financial goals. They can be personal goals. And, if I'm committed to my plan, the other part that means is I've got to follow it, because a lot of us write down all these things and then file them away in a filing cabinet. So it means that one of my commitments is I have to follow my plan. Now, an important thing I had to listen to was, I am committed to myself. And that says I'll have confidence in myself. I'll have confidence in myself. And I won't allow myself to listen to those who have little or no experience and believe that their opinions are better than mine. Because, boy, they'll lead you on a merry chase. I'm committed to my time. And that means that I time block things so that I can get them done. And I don't just blow them off with the ignore button. I actually do it, but I do it in small enough chunks I can get things done without scaring myself. And committed to my future. I'll stop ignoring the money. It's scary, but I'll do it. I'll do it. And I feel so much better for it. And I think that the biggest one is I'll commit to being guilt-free. I won't put up with people or things who are draining my energy. I have to have confidence in myself or my business. And I'll set boundaries. Boundaries is so important. I'll set boundaries with people that'll allow me to fire that bad client or to move bad people out of my life. And that can just be stinking people, stinking thinking people. And as I learned, I had to get rid of a bad marriage. So sometimes we have to take charge of our lives in ways that we might not want to, we might not expect to, but I realized I can do it. I can rewrite my story now that I know where all the stopping parts are. I can break it down in ways that are small enough that I don't have to get stuck there. They're just stopping points. And once I figure out which one of those things it is, then I can slowly move forward to the next level. We don't have to leap over tall buildings. Thank heavens. Some days I'm lucky if I can make it across a puddle. But we can do this. I can do this. I've done it. And you hear people say all the time, if I can do it, you can do it. The way I did it was break it down as small and as less scary as I can possibly make it. So that would be my thought for you. Is, here's the rules I wrote for myself. Angela, decide what you want. Decide what you're prepared to give up. Decide you're worth it, and pull up those big girl panties. You can do it. That's what I want you to know.
That is amazing. Thank you. How would somebody go about getting in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website, and I must give you a caution that my website in September is going to be totally upgraded with all of these documents that I'm popping up on it. The best place probably to follow me is on Facebook, my personal page, my business page. It'll get you a feeling of what I'm doing, and it will also give you some advance notice before I offer courses and books. So Facebook, LinkedIn. I promise I'll get better at Instagram. AngelaSutcliffe.com, Angela Sutcliffe Business Consulting, and Angela Sutcliffe. Those are the best ways to reach me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. And we are on to the next speaker. So thank you, Angela, and welcome, Claire. Welcome.
Hi, how are you going?
I am doing really well. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Very excited to chat to you.
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
It's early. Not too early.
How early is it?
It is 5:42 a.m.
Okay. It's early, but it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, it's all good. I said that. This is quiet. Let's take advantage of the quiet.
Absolutely. Before the storm starts. So awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And I cannot wait to hear your talk. With that, I'm going to give you the stage. Thank you.
Okay, ladies, let's talk about feelings, because our feelings are everything, right? They're like a traffic light. They are the stop or the go. And online, they're the difference between you showing up boldly and connecting deeply with the people who you want to serve with your business, or not showing up at all, or showing up half-assed, as I used to call it. And we don't want to half-ass anything. We want to full-ass everything, okay? So in 2010, my feelings had me sat behind the wheel of my car, driving up to my corporate job in Manchester in the UK. And it was a good 3 hours drive. I did it regularly, but today was different. I just had this sense of dread running through my whole body. And as I felt into it and the thoughts started to spin around, my hands started to get clammy. I started to sweat. And before I knew it, I was turning the wheel of the car. I was veering across the busy rush hour motorway, and I somehow arrived on the side of the motorway unharmed. This guy is coming up behind me and he's rushing up to my window, knocking the window, and I'm winding it down, and he's asking me, "Are you okay?" And I'm sat there feeling, yeah, and I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling a failure. I'm feeling like I got something wrong again. And that was my life in survival mode. And I spent a long time in that survival mode. That survival mode ended up being the thing that took me out of my corporate job. It caused me to have a spiraling chronic anxiety. We ended up moving from the UK over here to New Zealand to try and run away from those feelings. But guess what? They followed me over here as well. And while I tried to set up my own businesses, those businesses ultimately in 2017 wound me up in a food bank, trying to feed my 2, at the time, little girls, because I wasn't showing up in the action that was really going to create my success. In the place of that was just all of this lack of self-belief, this self-doubt, playing small. How many of you have felt those feelings? And I was feeling all of those feelings because of trauma. So not many social media coaches out there will tell you that your number one visibility strategy is, it starts with healing your story. Because in healing your story, you're actually able to share all of your story. And it's those pieces of your story that are right now unhealed. How do we know that they are unhealed? There's emotion attached to them. They make us feel something in the present day. It's like those past experiences are operating us right now in how we feel when we go to show up, when we feel vulnerable, when we feel exposed, when we feel confused, when we feel censored, when we feel like we shouldn't be heard, or even when we're feeling shame. That's our past stories, but it's those past stories that are your greatest power to create the future that you want. And in terms of your social media, it's those feelings that are your best connection to the audience that you want to serve. So how do we use those feelings in a positive way? One of the most common questions I get as a social media coach is, how do I create posts? Like, what do I post every day? And Claire, how do you come up with so much content? How do you get your content to convert into income? And if I had time here in this talk, I would teach you my entire ARMOR process that will help you to start generating powerful content that converts in your business every single day. But just in this short window of time, I want you to hear an example of one of my recent clients so that you can connect with how your feelings are playing out for you and what your patterns might be of playing a little bit smaller than your greatest good, that higher path is actually calling for you. Because I know that you have a soul goal. I know that you have and have created this business exactly because of your story, because of those experiences that you've had and how they make you want to help other people. So this social media piece is huge. Most of my clients come to me wanting to make money. They make money, but it's never the biggest thing that they make. And that is because of the work that we do in the story. And so the example with my client, she came to me exactly that. I need to start generating income. I want to have my first 5-figure month. And I started to teach her the hacks, the engagement strategy, all those social media pieces. But at the same time, we started to dig into a really big piece of trauma that she was holding on to from her past. And with those two pieces combined, she started to have really big breakthroughs. She started to see the engagement in her posts come up. She started to see her followers rise. And she started to have conversations that were turning into solid leads. And then on 2 occasions, my client self-sabotaged really, really bad. And I mean, chucked all of her toys out of the pram, completely stopped working. This was across a space of about 4 weeks on 2 occasions. And it was nothing to do with business. It was to do with her mum. The first time she'd got into this big thing with her mum. And we talked into it, we dug into it, we identified what was going on, and I thought we pulled forward from it. And then again, it happened again. And on the second time that it happened, that she sat there and nothing's happening in her business again, this beautiful strategy and momentum she'd created just fell on its head. And I asked her, I said, hey, who was it that created that situation, like that situation that your mum and you connected at all this weekend? And she said, oh, well, on Friday I was thinking about it. I was going to be in the area. And I organized the appointment. I jacked that little meeting up. And I looked her in the eyes and I said, there you have it. You're creating these situations because of something that you feel inside, something that you feel around your own success, something that you know that if you're triggered into exactly those feelings, that you're being with your mum and her triggering you while we haven't healed that trauma and the things that triggers create, subconsciously that you're going to wind up exactly where you are, and that's safe for you. It's saying yes to everything that the subconscious believes about you. And that is the pattern that we've got to break. It's not about your social media. It's about how you feel about you. How these triggers in your external world affect you because of those feelings that are attached to your experiences. So I had this same pattern, and mine was completely unconscious until quite recently, to be honest. And my big trauma in life, so I felt, was that when I was traveling in 2004, I was actually I was drugged and raped whilst in South America, and as it would, this had such a big impact on my life. This was before the incident in the car, and I honestly believe the incident in the car was just accumulation of me not sharing that story, me not getting any help, me feeling all that I felt about me. But in that experience, something happened that was nothing to do with that experience at all. I grew up with a mum who had bipolar, and our life was very volatile. She could be violent one day, she could be, high as a kite and happy another day. And she was always powerless to her world. Whatever was going on around us, she had no power over it. And I learned that. I learned that powerlessness. I saw and mimicked how she was, how she responded or reacted to things. And I believe now, with the work that I've done on myself, that I almost unconsciously created that situation of being raped, because it confirmed that powerlessness. It was me finally giving up trying to fight myself, because I came out of my childhood fighting. I am going to save the damn world. I can't fix her and she's powerless to everything. And I'm not going to be that way. But that's exactly the way I ended up, because we can't change those subconscious beliefs unconsciously. And so we will create these patterns that wind us up where we feel safe, because safety in your brain is simply familiarity, which is why meditation is so powerful, for example, because meditation starts to help us to become familiar with something else. It helps us to become familiar with switching those damn thoughts off, because it's those damn thought patterns that are keeping you small, stopping you from growing your business as big as you possibly could do, stopping you from impacting the people that you were put on this earth to impact. And that is the reason that you went through what you went through. We have to switch those thinking thoughts off. And so the armor process is just checking in on the time. It has 3 stages, and the first stage is called avatar. And that is when we really dig into who you want to be. Instead of you creating your present situation based on the past, based on those past experiences, based on what you believe, based on the thoughts that nobody's going to want to hear what I say. I'm going to get confronted if I say that. They're going to judge me if I do this. We start creating up here in the future. We get super clear on what that avatar looks like of you in the greatest version of yourself. And we get connected to your soul goal. So my client, in doing this, we took her from wanting to help corporate people who felt stuck in their roles, who wanted to get into another role that made them feel, liberated, to going after world peace. My client is going after world peace, and in connection with that avatar, with that soul goal. Her soul fire lit a light so bright that passion will make you walk through fire for anything. And I'm not saying that it takes those feelings away. They will still come up, but there's a difference there, because you're operating in this new place of potentiality, of potential, of your true potential, of the unknown that I teach you how to get really familiar with through your vision, which takes some of that fear away. Number 2, step 2, the armors. We have to take those armors away. You are walking around with so many armors that you are like you've physically got chainmail on. You're awkward. Your content is cold. You are not expressing your true self. Who here has tried to get on Reels and just be? And you found yourself, coming up with a great idea and then pulling back at the last minute, or not trying Reels at all because you feel awkward, you feel like shame maybe, or you feel embarrassed, or you feel worried, or you feel whatever you're feeling. Reels right now on social media are the place to be. Yes, we can share other people's Reels, but we want to be sharing all of us, because it's that person that your business client wants to connect to. Your business client is down on their hands and knees praying for you. And so with that armor process, we start to, first of all, take off those armors that is still there, that are protecting you from something, that are creating your negative patterns of behavior. And in taking those armors off and neutralizing the emotion, you start to take that wisdom and share it through your social media. That is what your audience needs to hear. They are in your past story, right? But we also start to see really clearly where you've already done that for yourself, because there will be multiple ways in your story where you have actually healed yourself. You have coped, you've gotten through. And we start to bring that through your content powerfully. And that's step number 3, action. That is your visibility. That is where my client hit her first 5-figure month, because she started taking absolutely powerful action. And the world needs your action, especially right now. I believe everyone has a soul goal, and that you are a candle of hope, that if you are stuck right now, or procrastinating, or feeling like you're meant for more but not actually doing it, then Your soul fire is not a light. That candle is not a light. Nobody can see where you are. Which means those people down on their hands and knees praying for you, they're not hearing you. So I am Claire Williamson, and that is my soul goal. To get your soul fire alight, to connect you with your purpose and passion, to help you heal that story so that you can share that story. And you can check me out on Instagram at CW Full Circle. Thanks so much.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate your sharing your story. I am just blown away. You know, you're sharing such important information and news, and your story is so like hits a nerve with me. You know, the not showing up, all of the trauma. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Claire.
You and your light.
Thank you. I hope you have a lovely day, and y'all get in touch with Claire. I think you'll be impressed. She's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to play with the modern miracles of technology here and pop Tish up and bringing this one down. And hopefully we are here. Thanks, Tish. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Is that thing on?
I think it might be. I'm going to keep it this time.
Is it on? Is it on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Cool. So we wanted to do a very brief interlude here and be silly. We are going to be totally silly. I don't have quite the same thing that you do with the hairbrush. Sorry, guys. But,
let's go over the top.
Let's do that. Hang on. I got it.
Yes. And one of the things
Got this
I'm
covered.
bringing is prizes. Excellent. We all have our bling now.
We do. We brought our bling. So let's talk about what's going on in Women's Entrepreneur Network coming up. Because we have tons of stuff, and I don't know that people quite realize all of the crazy ass stuff we've got coming in the foreseeable future. Like this month alone, we've got workshops and networking events and lives and talks.
And another WEN-Talk.
So I am just like blown away.
There is a lot to keep track of. And I'm working on getting emails to everybody a little bit more punctual maybe next month. But for now, here we are. And this morning, you would have received an email about everything but the event that's coming up on Thursday because I missed it. And I'm currently writing an email to remind you about that. So today we have a WEN-Talk event on the 29th of August. We have a second one this month.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that, we have a couple of different things going on as well. We have a networking event on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Did you register yet? Are you registered? It's going to be a blast. It is fun. It's not an ordinary networking event. We have prompts. We go into breakout rooms in the Zoom room, and it is so much fun. After that, on the 19th, we are working on a one-day, 3-hour workshop for Build Your Tribe.
Building a Facebook group. So y'all may know I started Women's Entrepreneur Network a while ago, and I have grown it and grown my business and monetized it, and it's a lot of fun. And a lot of people ask me, how did I grow my group? How did I get people in? How did I do this stuff? How am I making money? So I decided to turn it into a challenge last year, which I did. Now what I have done is taken it and consolidated it down. I'm adjusting the tiara to make it look more tiara-ish. And we have turned it into a 3-hour workshop. There's time for Q&A. It is content heavy. Y'all are going to be blown away. I, confess that I have my ulterior motive of getting you guys into the social selling mastermind afterwards, because we do have a mastermind that runs here 3 days a week and is here to help people grow their businesses. And the idea is we're going to give you the foundations and help you get your business up to a certain point so that you can grow and come play with us. And there's so much fun stuff, but it's a 3-hour intensive workshop where we're talking about growing a Facebook group, getting it engaged, because most people's Facebook groups are totally dead, and then monetizing it and going from there.
And this comes on the heels of your engagement challenge for business pages. So it does really go hand in hand, because when we were in the first challenge, which was 5 days, people were asking, well, what about my group? And this is our answer. We have a workshop that's only 3 hours long, but it will be jam-packed full of wonderful information that you can take with and put into action right away, which is what we want to do. We want to help you grow your groups.
Yeah. And part of it too is that groups and Facebook pages behave a little bit differently, and you can do different things with pages and groups. So we are alternating months with the groups and the pages, so that you get different information in different months. So we're not like drowning you with all the information and sharing that. And these challenges are completely free, y'all. So we're not doing it to try to like get you in there and do a high pressure sales tactic. That's not what this is. This is really to help get you some good foundational knowledge and help you grow your business. And it works.
And, the serial DIY webinar junkie addict here highly recommends attending events where you can go for free, take all the knowledge you can get into your notepad and run with it, because it may take you longer to get from point A to B to C all the way to Z if you're doing it all by yourself. And yes, it can be done. But if you need help, you're here.
Melanie, how do you know if you need a group? So it depends. That's a really good question. So it really depends. And it's one of those things that, it's hard to be serious here with, the tiara on my head. But seriously, it depends on your business. It depends on the environment where you're at. It depends on how your networking environment is, what kind of a business you have. So for instance, people that are in direct sales, a lot of those people do very well with, say, a VIP group. And why do they do well with a VIP group? They do well with a VIP group because they want to get all of their clients together, and they want to keep promoting to them, and they want to keep the excitement going and keep it all generated. And a lot of the direct sales companies don't do well with really promoting on a business page or allowing you to promote your prices. There's a lot of limitations about what you can do. But if you're in a private group, you can do all of that stuff. So that would be one case where I would be like, yeah. The other time you might need a group is if you're doing it for your business and you're doing it as a, say I'm doing an energy healer group, or I'm doing a private pop-up group for a challenge. So there's different times and places where you might want to use one. There's also times where I see people start a group that maybe it should really be a page. Like if you've got classes going on in the community, you probably really just want a page, unless you're doing like a ton of DIY stuff in the group that's, specific to the group and you're not sharing it anywhere else. I would probably argue that should still be a page, because you can monetize a page and you can't monetize a group in quite the same ways.
And I remember you telling me once that when you have a business page for your group, it is set up to funnel people into your group. So you can actually work with them both together in tandem to try and build both sides of the coin.
Yeah, that's true. And then the other thing too is a lot of your times, if we're building a group and we're trying to build that online community, we're driving people towards that community, towards that group. whether it's a Facebook page or an Instagram account or a Facebook group, whatever that thing is, or a LinkedIn group, all of our social media ends up being pointed to that group. So.
Yes, I have several groups, and one of the things that I am struggling with is consistency because I have so many things on the go. It says right there, the tissue of all things. So that's one of the lessons that I know I'm going to take with me when I'm moving forward. And there are so many things you can learn, but to switch gears,
trying to do too many things is not real helpful for your business.
I am a master of some. Now, coming up Thursday, I'm going to be sending out an email for people to sign up to the networking event. But can you tell us a little bit more about what makes the WEN networking event special?
So WEN networking events happen once a month. You don't have to join and pay money. We don't have a requirement for attendance every month. You can come if you sign up. It's a ton of fun. And we get to know each other really well. So part of the point is teaching people how to network and facilitating the conversations that allow effective networking. If you've ever been to, say, a BNI meeting or something like that, it's run a little bit differently because we're going to use breakout rooms and we're going to have conversation starters and we're going to get you guys broken out together so that y'all can actually get to know each other and hopefully collect each other's contact information and schedule one-to-ones after the meeting, which is really where we do all of our business anyway.
Yes, and that brings another point to mind. I am in your mastermind, and something I noticed that's been happening more and more lately is not only the information that we are getting the benefit of from being in the mastermind and everybody contributing, but we're also wheeling and dealing in there as well. And it's pretty amazing to see things happen. So what do you think about that?
I like it. That's part of why I did it. It's my own sneaky way of doing this cross between coaching and, we bring a ton of information to y'all and a ton of expertise. But we're also encouraging people to build their networks because a lot of times where we grow our business is with those people we know, like, and trust, and those word of mouth referrals. And it doesn't matter if they're all local or not local or whatever for most businesses. The more people we know, the more people who know, like, and trust us, the better our businesses tend to do and the better that they tend to grow. And at the end of the day, all things being equal, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. All things being unequal, they do business with those they know, like, and trust. So if people have a chance to get to know you, you're going to do better. I get really kind of, jaded sometimes because I see a lot of people who talk about, growing their businesses. A lot of coaches are like, yeah, I'm going to help people build a 7-figure business. And we're going to do it by adding 15 friends a day. And then we're going to do this. And we're going to do these types of posts on your Facebook feed. Well, the problem is, are you connecting to the right people? Do you have the right energy on your wall? Do you have the right connections? Are you building the right network? Are you circling yourself with the right people for those posts to even begin to work? In a lot of cases, the answer is no, because we haven't really started building that platform and we haven't started really building that strength of that network that allows us to be able to, say, post something and get to really get people kind of interested in what we're doing. And I'm with you, Melanie. I would rather be real and get to know people. I would rather be very real with what we do with Fiercely Marketing and never oversell the results. Always under promise and over deliver. That's our goal. And yeah, Tish's shirt says it all. Connect, add value, make stuff happen. It's really important. At the end of the day, we will tend to get more business and more referrals and more clients from people who know us. And they're going to be the people who tend to buy from us. They're going to be people who refer to us. It's a virtuous cycle. masterminds really, really facilitate the daylights out of that.
Yeah. So if you think about the free networking event that's coming up on Thursday and the free workshop that's coming up on the 19th and events like this that happen every other month, if not twice a month sometimes, you will start to see the value of what's happening within the group, just within the free events. Think about the potential of what happens when you go into a mastermind where you invest yourself and your time and some money, which is a reasonable sum, to be able to grow your network on a one-to-one basis in a group of like-minded people. The conversations, yeah, we sometimes go a little left of center, but we always rein it back in, and there's always at least one really valid point that we get every time we meet, and that's something that also is really worth its weight in gold, or even more than gold, whatever's heavier than that.
What was something you took away from this morning's mastermind meeting?
I took notes. Give me a sec.
You took notes. Give you a sec. Yeah, she was. Tish was there. You know, it's really interesting because this morning we were talking a lot about sales and sales mindset. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes at me about mindset. But it's amazing how having your head in the right space in your business, even once you started to scale, makes all of the difference in the world.
Our next guest gave a couple of really good nuggets. Current clients are your best resource. That is one I got today. It means that if you have current clients, even past clients who are pleased with your services, they're going to refer you, and that is how they can be your best resource. Another tidbit we got today was when someone says no to you, they are really saying no to themselves. It hit home because I've said no to people sometimes, and I understand the value of what they offer, but I also understand where I was at that time. When the timing is right, I definitely do say yes. And when I say yes, it is 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we were talking about different types of no's and the different way that people sometimes will approach your business. Are they price shopping, or are they knowledge gathering? You know, are they doing the Walmart tricks? You know, or are they really like truly interested? And how do you know the difference?
Yeah, and we also talked a bit about our money mindsets. And that's something a lot of people may not even be aware that they have. I have heard of people talking about money being evil. It's not, it's money. And the way to get around that is that if you are a good person and you have more money, you're going to do more good things with your money. It's something you may not think about, but money is not dirty. It's not evil. It is a tool. And when you use a tool properly, anything can be seen as a tool, a thing itself. Because I know as a woman who's overweight, food is a tool as well. It's a fuel for my body. And it's not bad, and it's not, you know, it's all about choices. And it's the same thing. So if you take the tools that are in your toolbox and you use them properly and effectively, great things are going to happen.
Absolutely. I love it so much. And, you know, it's amazing how once we get our heads and our energy and our messaging and all the things, and the network around us is vitally important to growing a business. And our friends, I've heard many times that, you know, our success is similar to the 5 most successful people that we surround ourselves with, the people that we surround ourselves with the most. So who are you surrounding yourself with?
I've been hearing that for a while. I'm listening to it, and I'm actually living it now because things are changing in my world, and it's because I'm changing who I intentionally spend time with. And it's like one of our previous speakers said, you don't have to write off everybody in your black book of friends, but you need to be intentional with how you spend time and who you spend time with. And it can make such a difference. I know that
Yeah.
a lot of people who follow me personally on my wall are starting to notice things are shifting again, and they're reacting because I'm trying to be positive. And that's something I want to be known for, is fun, positive, and a good influence, and bringing more good into the world every day. That's something I want to be known for. And to have people, either people I know in person or people online, tell me that that's what's coming across, it makes me feel good about what I'm doing, and it helps me to keep going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it's interesting how, for me, the networking events, networking events, which are free, the mastermind, which is not free, but the different things that we're doing are intentionally crafted around that idea that the value of your network is where, and the quality of your network is where you're going to see a lot of your client growth from, at least initially in your business, because you have to test things out and grow things to a certain point. And new initiatives need to be tested out before you start spending a ton of money on ads. It's amazing how fast a lot of times people will rush into ads for a program before they've ever tested it out, or a freebie before they've ever tested it out. Test it out first on your warm audience. But if you don't have a warm audience, you've got a problem.
You have to start somewhere. And I mean, you can just start trying everything, or you can pick one thing and try to get really, really good at that before you add something else in. And I think if you keep working on one thing and then building from there, you build a foundation, and that's something that your business can grow from. Whereas if you're into everything, and yes, I know that's what that says down there, but I'm trying to find my path in the process.
Yeah.
So I am trying different things, and it doesn't mean that I'm doing things wrong in my mind, but it does mean that I am trying to figure out what's going to work. And sometimes you do have to try different things to figure that out.
Well, sometimes you fail fast, fail forward. But while you're building your network, your connections, your friends, so that each time you fail forward, you're making a little bit of forward progress in life, in your business, and things start working a little bit easier each time.
That's something that's important too, is how you react to a failure, which is not really a failure, because there's always a lesson somewhere hidden inside there. Sometimes you really got to dig to find it, but there's always a lesson. And in making choices, you deal with the consequences. That's how we all get through life, and that's something we all have to change, how we see what happens around us, so that we take it with us instead of letting it block us.
Absolutely. And we've all had failures. I mean, I want to make that perfectly clear. Claire was talking about, some of her failures and some of her trauma. I've had my fair share of failures and trauma. And, all the business expertise in the world, all the education in the world, all the practice at doing things in the world doesn't necessarily prevent you from making mistakes. It just means that you see them faster and you can navigate around things a lot faster. It's what we're here for, is to make things a lot easier for people in their businesses, for women, and a few smart men in their businesses. So it's really cool.
Yep. And the author in me has to yell plot twist when that happens. You have to pick a different path.
Yep, totally. Plot twist, plot twist, plot twist. Yeah, it is all good. So we are really, really excited to hand over our stage to our next speaker. And she's probably been having her ears burned for the last little bit because we've been singing her praises. And then we're going to wrap up with another good friend of mine who is going to help you see the Superwoman. So Charlene, welcome to the stage.
Thanks so much, everyone. It's been so great to do business with people, not only, because we're professionals, but I just love Haley and her team and the commitment that they have to really providing great content and to be able to be here with you today. Thank you, Haley, and your team. One of the things that I found a lot of times in our journey is that Our journey in entrepreneurship is really our journey in our life. And being a business owner, we wear many hats, and having different roles like a mother, a wife, a daughter, a community member. Each of those roles requires so much of us. And so today, one of the things that I wanted to speak on, from my heart especially, because I think a lot of times we forget about how to just be real and authentic, is to really give ourselves this one gift. And the one gift is the gift of imperfection. I think a lot of times people, show up and they leave their job and they come and be an entrepreneur and they think they're supposed to get it all. Some people who are business owners for years, always say, didn't I learn that lesson? Didn't I get that right? And I think that's what really robs us of joy and happiness and fulfillment, is when we are feeling like we have to be perfect. So today, on this amazing WEN morning, I want to give each one of you permission to give yourself the gift of imperfection, to give yourself grace, to give yourself a pat on the back, to give yourself permission to not worry about being perfect at all things, but to allow yourself to be fully immersed in the opportunities that come from imperfect action. So here's a couple of stories that I want to share. And, I feel like storytelling is what keeps us connected. So early on, for one of my clients, it was really hard for them to take what they learned in corporate America into their business. And this individual led, hundreds of companies, and they made millions and millions of dollars. And unfortunately, with the transition of the digital space and kind of where the company was leading, it was a good time to part. And he felt like, what do I know about business? What do I know about anything to do with P&L statements? And, how do I figure out what product or service and what price to charge? And so he took this leap of faith and became an entrepreneur. He got all the right trainings, he had all the right certifications, but he felt so frustrated because he thought he was supposed to get it right the first time. And when I talk to him and as I coach him through, I always think, give yourself some grace. Give yourself permission to feel the power of what learning this new opportunity is like. Give yourself the power to get it wrong and to make some mistakes that all of us make when we're starting out in our business. And I think a lot of times we forget that part. And why do I share this story? Because many of us are like him. Many of us come from a corporate position and think we know everything because we have hit so much success benchmarks and we know what we're doing and we feel like it should be easy for us. But one of the things he wasn't giving to himself was this gift of imperfection. And that's what really was holding him back from his business. Growing and succeeding was because he thought he had to get everything right the first time. He thought he had to be perfect at everything. And so during that process of helping him see that he was exactly where he needed to be and that he was perfectly perfect in what he was doing and how he was going about it, and that he just needed to give himself some grace and some understanding, he is now making significant breakthroughs. He's making significant breakthroughs in his relationships with his spouse. He no longer is carrying this weight and pressure of trying to be perfect. And that's just one of the many stories that I think when you're given the gift of imperfection and to be able to unwrap it and to enjoy it and experience it can really do a lot of good. Here's another story. This was a really hard story because, time is always the one thing. Once it's gone, it's spent and it's forever gone. And time some and we want things to be fast and we want things to happen. And sometimes that can't happen. So here's a story. So early on, in the early part of my career, I helped one of my clients discover that he was a fintech company, which is a financial company with education. And he has now been in the business 17 years. And of course, I didn't see, what would happen after we worked together, but it became full circle as I worked with him just last year during COVID. And one of the things he realized was that we were building the foundation of his business early on when we talked about how to educate people, how to train people, how to understand people, how to work with people. And time was so precious back then because he himself had come out of debt and bankruptcy, and had been in a home where poverty, for 9 kids was really hard to deal with. And so he was really coming from a place of, sure, I don't ever want anyone to go through this struggle. Looking back after 17 years, he is, an Inc. 500 company. He's got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. He's completely debt free. He couldn't see what the future held. All he had was that single moment in his life and every single day that we were building his business. And today, of course, he's enjoying those benefits and the results of his life. And so I guess the reason why I'm sharing his story is because sometimes we feel like right now feels like forever. Like, when are we going to get out of this problem? When are we going to solve these problems that I'm struggling with? When are we going to actually see the fruits of my labor? I get that, and I see it. And sometimes, just like this client, he just had to allow himself to live every single day to the fullest. He had to build his business every single day, step by step, and that it would eventually become what he's enjoying today. And why does that sometimes happen to us? Is because we don't give ourselves that gift of imperfection. Time, learning, experience, that's all part of the process of becoming an amazing human being, first of all, but also it's part of the process of becoming a successful business owner. And success sometimes looks different to other people, right? Because all of us measure life and success by different things. But I want to give you the gift of imperfection. I want you to give yourself grace that even though right now might feel very stressful and overwhelming, and maybe it feels like you're not going anywhere, it actually is exactly where you need to be. And to give yourself that time, to give yourself permission to be present in the moment, to do what you need to do in order for you to get there. And imagine him 17 years later. He's onboarded 200,000 customers just last year with one of our strategies during COVID. Why? Because he took those steps in the very beginning part of his business to build his business, to learn from his mistakes, to learn from his successes, and grow his business. And here's the third final story. And this is where I feel like the gift of imperfection is powerful for us entrepreneurs. So early on in my career, one of the biggest things that I learned was that hard work was definitely a value and a tool that I would use the rest of my life. But I always saw the struggle that my parents had. So I grew up in a home where entrepreneurship was second nature to us. We had multiple businesses. I didn't really understand what business was about. I just knew that our family had tons of businesses and I was always to work. And so I learned the value of hard work. I learned the value of showing up, waking up early. I learned the value of sacrifice. But one of the things that I learned later on in my life and in my career was that working hard could not be maintained. It actually had to come from a place of working smart, not hard. And so for many years, I had to give myself the gift of imperfection, the gift of understanding that maybe I didn't understand it back then, but I understood it now, and that I had the responsibility from now on to understand that working smarter, not necessarily harder, was going to serve me more than trying to be daily in the grind. And I still work hard. I still work, 40, 50 hours a week, but I work smarter now because I realized that me working hard wasn't going to serve my family. It wasn't going to serve my relationships. It wasn't going to serve my clients. It sure wasn't going to serve my team. And so I had to give myself that gift that even though my intentions were good to help and to serve and to over deliver, but if I continuously kept working hard day in and day out without working smart, then I would actually hurt myself and my business. And so I want to give you guys permission. And if you're hearing this maybe for the 100th time and it's going to finally click today because you finally are ready to, I want you to give yourself permission to self-care, to say no, to be able to enjoy the moments that you have, to be able to look at your life and appreciate that right now is all you have. And working smarter, right? Using tools of automation, using technology, even using a calendar link like Calendly to schedule your time so that you are in control of your time is going to do a lot more good than you just continually hitting the grind, because it didn't serve me. When I've been in business for 23 years and 17 of those years have been with multiple companies, and being a business owner of multiple companies and multiple teams has allowed me to learn a couple of really smart things. That working hard isn't necessarily the best for me, but working hard and smart will serve me more. So WEN community, as I wrap up, here's a couple of things that are just some nuggets on my heart that I want to share. Is that the journey that we're on as entrepreneurs, is really a reflection of where our life is and what we want. And for many of us, I want you to have permission to be imperfect, to be able to have some bumps and bruises, to prove that, what you're doing, you're living your life out loud and you're doing all the very best that you can, and to give yourself some grace to accept that. And I really think that as you continue to do this and remember yourself as, gifts of imperfection, and to give yourself that grace, you're going to find yourself more happy and more fulfilled. You're going to actually care about your clients, and you're going to want to show up every single day. So hopefully you do that already, because I want you to show up 100% more in your power and who you are, because being imperfect allows you to do that. You are more powerful when you allow yourself to have grace, and you will give your employees and your staff more grace because you understand them, and you'll be able to have more from them because you don't treat them poorly, that you actually care about them and want the very best for them. And that will come out more in your work, in your sales, in your marketing, in your relationships. And I have been blessed by that. And what a great aha moment. And I'll tell you this, guys, who I am today is very different than who I was many, many years ago. So understand that this is a process. This doesn't happen overnight. Your relationships will thank you if you're willing to transform and unbecome these habits of perfectionism and these habits of, thinking you have to be successful at everything. You don't. You just have to give yourself the opportunity to just be better every day. And I hope you really do, because life is so much more enjoyable when you live a life where every day you're a little bit better. And so I hope you do that. And I hope, you understand how powerful this WEN community is, and how much Haley and her team gives to us because of the opportunities that they allow us to come and speak. I'm really blessed by the networking and the mastermind. If you haven't done that, please join us and do that weekly with us. Make some time for you to connect with other business owners. I look forward to talking to you. And if you want to go ahead and DM me or, message me on one of my lives, I'd love to chat with you. Because I really believe that when you give yourself the gift of imperfection, you're allowing yourself to grow faster and develop faster, and you'll experience success and fulfillment more fast than anything else you could do. Have an amazing day, everybody. Just know that I appreciate you, and I hope the very best for you. And I look forward to talking and meeting with you every single day. Thanks, Haley, for letting me be on stage with everyone, and that we have such an amazing gift to be able to share this message today.
Thank you. This has been awesome. It is such an inspiration. Talking to you, listening to you. I appreciate you stepping up and taking this opportunity today, because, the message is profound. I'm really appreciating it.
Well, Haley, you make it possible for all of us to give. And so thank you for letting us give.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you for coming today. And I appreciate you hopping in and doing this. So thanks.
Thanks so much.
And with that, we're going to pop people around. And, well, hey there. How are you?
Hola.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
How's it going, ladies?
It is cool. Going really good today. And it's going even better because you are our last speaker, and I am so stoked to have you here today.
I'm always stoked to be here. And I got to piggyback off of Charlene. I feel like we are playing good cop, bad cop today. Because
I feel like that's how it works with these live events. Is it's always good cop, bad cop, good cop, bad cop, and I'm like, whoa, y'all, quit hitting me upside the head.
Because I'm really I'm just going to piggyback off of a lot that she said. When I was just sitting here thinking, Charlene, girl, get out my message. But before I piggyback off of her, I definitely wanted to, share the same, echo her sentiments about you and what you're doing here for women with WEN, because listen, this platform that you created for us to be visible, to be impactful, to be helpful, it's just one of the best things ever. And it's nothing to take for granted or lightly. It's such a blessing.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to have you here. And I'm going to turn the stage over to you and get out of the way.
Okay, great.
Let
All
you
right.
do your Superwoman amazingness.
Awesome. All right. So, Superwomen. Hi, I am Ray Jenkins. I gotta preface with a couple of things. Number one, there will be lots of laughter. There will be lots of laughter because I'm always laughing at me and I'm always laughing at you. So the combination of those two, much laughter, mucho laughter. The other thing is, I can't help but to teach. It's just in my blood. And so I teach in a conversational way, which is a great thing. And so I've got a couple of things that I want to share with you all. And again, just kind of building off of everything that Charlene said. Listen, she was the good cop. I'm going to be the bad cop. I'm the one that's going to step on your toes. But I do it, as she said, with grace and absolute love. There's never, ever any judgment from me. But there is an accountability. Because one of the things that I know about us as women, that we can get stuck in the superficial, right? All the cliches, all the hype, all the things. We can get stuck in the superficial. And when we do that, it prevents us from success. And so how can I say that to you so boldly without being afraid of you just getting off the live right now and be like, I don't want to hear from her. I can say that to you boldly because I am you, because I've done exactly that. And I've got a circle of friends, including Haley, that calls me out, just like I'm calling you out when I start doing it again, because that's the thing. We're going to have missteps. We're going to mess up while we're on this journey. And it's okay. Like, it really is okay. And a part of the mess ups is not securing the bag. And so that's what I want to talk to you dolls about today, is securing the bag, but really not just securing the bag, but protecting the bag. Superwoman, listen, you got to protect the bag. And before I go into the bag part, I want to back up and justify how I was verbally attacking and assaulting you, calling you superficial. I want to do it or whatever, because I want you to love me, okay? As much as I love you, because everybody knows how much I love the Superwoman. Everybody knows that. And if you didn't know it, you know it today. I love the Superwoman, is my heartbeat. So here's the thing. The superficial, being superficial and stuck, what that really comes from, Superwoman, is what I call the double S on our chest. Some of us Superwomen, we proudly walk around with that S on our chest, as we should. As we should. But some Superwomen, they got that double S on their chest, and that double S is a stigma. So what double S am I talking about? All right, so some of us have the double S of smile, Superwoman. That's not the double S that I'm talking about. That's good. That's not a stigma. You definitely want to be out here smiling, Superwoman, even when things feel tough, even when everything is going against you. And on this journey, a lot will go against you, but you still got to thug it out. You got to smile through it and persevere. You might have to cry a little bit too, but definitely smile. Or the double S, support, Superwomen. That's not the double S that I'm talking about either, because you definitely want to support Superwomen. I mean, listen, we're all we got. I had this meme yesterday when I was saying that, like, it was talking about competition. Like, we're not competing with each other. Or at least I'm not competing with you. You may be my competitor, but I'm not competing with you because I want to see you win. And that's completion for me. I can't speak for you, but I know I want to see Superwomen win. And, you know, even as a coach, I have, you know, when I do my lives and everything, I invite other women coaches to come and share with Superwomen. Why? Because one, my personality doesn't match every Superwoman in existence. That's number one. And number two, I don't have that poverty mentality. I have an abundance mentality. It's enough for all of us. Okay. All of us. But what about Superwoman soul? That's not the double S I'm talking about either, because the Superwoman soul is the anchor. It's the thing that keeps everything moving for the Superwoman. So those are not the double S's on your chest. Those are the double S's that you can rock proudly. The double S that I'm talking about, Superwoman, is Superwoman Syndrome. Oh, yes. I'm walking up your street right now, Superwoman Syndrome. I had to call you out on it. Why? Because I get called out on it. Listen, we've got to get called out on it because Superwoman Syndrome keeps us stuck in the superficial. And I'm gonna go deeper into what superficial looks like. But for now, I'm just gonna say it keeps us stuck in the superficial. So the problem with Superwoman Syndrome is it adversely affects your relationships, whether it's your relationship with your God, with your man, with your money, with your mini-me. Superwoman Syndrome adversely affects all of your relationships. But you know what? Let's go beyond those. I said money, but you know, money entails your clients, your employees, your contracts, you know, those kind of things or whatever, like your growth. So yeah, at the syndrome, it adversely affects those things, your relationships. And again, if it's adversely affecting your relationships, then it's negatively impacting your money. So we're going to get to the bag. But before we get to the bag, because if you didn't know already, the bag is a couple of things. But we're going to stick with the bag being your money. I'm going to tell you other things that the bag could be too. But let's stick with the syndrome for now. All right. So what is the definition of Superwoman Syndrome? The simplest definition of Superwoman Syndrome is you doing too much. It's just really the simplest definition of it. It's like you're taking on too much. And Charlene, she just really, everything that Charlene talked about was Superwoman Syndrome. Not showing yourself grace, taking on too many projects, working too many hours, working hard. Oh my gosh, listen, I am a worker bee. I'm dedicated and committed to working, but I am so anti-work hard. It makes some people mad. Okay. Like I refuse to work hard because we're talking about money, right? How many people you know work hard as hell and still broke? How many people you know work hard as hell and never break into even? They stay in debt, or they never reach those financial goals or get to that financial mountaintop, but they're working hard. Remember I talked about cliches earlier? Dumbass cliches. I hate cliches. And so anyway, so Charlene talked about it. Everything that she was talking about, describing to you, that's all Superwoman Syndrome. And Superwoman, it's not serving you. You definitely got to let it go. You got to let it go. And so let's give you some examples of a Superwoman. Yeah, because Superwomen get a bad reputation because of Superwoman Syndrome. Yeah, it's easily confused with Superwoman Syndrome, but being a Superwoman is just dope. You are just dope. And don't let nobody tell you different, Superwoman. Listen, let me give you some examples of some Superwomen. A Superwoman is someone who lost her only son. okay, and decided to persevere and press through and keep showing up for her other children and her clients and continue to grow and build her business. That's a superwoman, right? But she also allowed herself to process that grief. She allowed herself to grieve. She didn't put her grief on her grieving process on the back burner so that she could show up and make money and help people. That's not what she did. She continued to do what she had to do because it had to be done, but not one at the expense of the other. That's an example of a superwoman. Another example of a superwoman is when cancer comes to beat your ass and you say, not today. You're not beating this ass. That's what you're not going to do, right? And you overcome cancer. That's a superwoman. While you're running your business, being a mother, those kind of things. Oh, let me give you another example. This one might sound familiar to y'all because it's Haley's story. Having a husband who's not supportive of your vision and your goals at all, while you have to handle your daughter's mental health issues and fight the system just to get her some help. Yeah, but still growing this internationally based community. That's a superwoman, okay? So don't let nobody tell you that being a superwoman is a bad thing. Being a superwoman is dope. Superwoman, again, you are dope. You are amazing. You are incredible. You are just kick ass. And that's why I love you, girl. I love you, girl. Girl, I love you. Anyway, those are some examples of being a superwoman. So let's segue that into the bag. Let's segue that into the bag. Because here's the thing. As business owners, as entrepreneurs, we got to secure the bag. And most of us are out here doing the work to secure the bag. However, there's a couple of things that, there may be levels to the bag. I don't really know, but I definitely know that there are steps to the bag. Okay. There are steps beyond the bag, should I say. And so it's more than just getting the bag. What is the bag? And my definition and my estimation, the bag is anything you paid the price for. Just imagine going to the store and you going to the store and you just gave that cashier the money for whatever you had on that conveyor belt, right? And they put it in the bag. You don't walk away from the counter or, the checkout station without your bag. You got to take your bag. You're going to take your bag. Why? Because you paid for it. You paid your money for it. And so for all intents and purposes, because we're talking about money, I'm going to talk about securing the bag, the bag being your money. Okay. And you can apply it, based on the example that I just gave you, you can apply it to anything that you want to apply it to. But again, for all intents and purposes, we're going to focus on money right now because we've got to challenge this mindset of yours, Superwoman, that's keeping you stuck in the superficial. Yeah. So let's talk about the three things when it comes to the bag. One, we've already mentioned, you want to secure the bag. Okay. Two, you want to maintain the bag. Okay. People always talk about get the bag, secure the bag. I'm sorry, getting the bag. I'm sorry. The three things. I'm sorry. I'm so hyped. I'm over speaking. So here's the deal. When it comes to getting the bag, there's three things that we've got to do. We've got to secure the bag. We've got to maintain the bag, and we definitely got to protect the bag. What I want to talk to you about today is protecting the bag, okay? Because many of us are out here doing the damn thing. We're out here doing the thing so that we can get the bag, right? But many of us are not doing enough of the right things so that we secure and protect the bag, that we keep the bag. I want to give you a couple examples about that. So one of the things that Charlene was mentioning, she was talking about when she was describing Superwoman Syndrome, and how I'm just going to tie it all into Superwoman Syndrome, is one of the ways that I see women fail to protect her bag is doing too much. Like, for instance, you're stuck on DIY, do it yourself. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to cover it. I want to help you, Superwoman. I want to help you because I too have done this. So again, no judgments. I just get it. And when I'm awake to something, I'm going to shout it from the mountaintops. And so I got to shout it out to you so that you can get it too. So here's the thing. I was working with my coach, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And I started to feel myself completely overwhelmed. And I don't do overwhelmed well. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm starting to want to shut down, and I can't shut down. So I got to make some adjustments. I got to fix some things. And what I was noticing was my mindset. I kept saying, oh, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And when I do this, then I'll hire somebody else. And once I reach this goal, then I'll hire somebody else. And, those kind of things or whatever. So here's the thing. There's a mental conditioning that many of us have or have had. Some of you are past it, which is awesome. I'm past it now, but I had to, like I said, once I realized it for myself, I'm going to shout it out to y'all. There's this mindset that we have that says, I can't afford to do this, that, or the other right now. But let me tell you something. When it comes to securing the bag, Superwoman, when it comes to protecting the bag, should I say, you need a couple of things in your business. You need, a lot of times you need help. You need that virtual assistant. Sometimes you really need that. Sometimes because you're a mom, you're a businesswoman, and some of you are still employees while you're doing all of this stuff. It's a bit much. That's Superwoman Syndrome. You're taking on too much. You're doing too much. And when you're doing too much of those things, you're not doing enough of the right things. And it's messing with your bag, Superwoman. And we got to secure the bag. We got to get the bag, secure the bag, maintain the bag, and protect the bag, right? So when you continue to think, you're putting it off, like you're putting it off into your future. And so you find yourself stuck. Remember I said stuck in the superficial? So here you are on the surface level, superficial. You can't get into the depth of what it is that you've got to do, what you need to be doing, what you should be doing to get out here and positively impact, influence, and inspire other women because you're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed, Superwoman, because you're stuck with that thought. I can't afford to do XYZ now. But here's the thing. As long as you think that you can't afford to do it, as long as you're saying, I can't afford to do it now, you won't. You won't. And you're going to be stuck in that. So how do you change it? I know you're like, well, all right, I don't want to be stuck. And, I'm not superficial. So how do I change it? Easy fix, Superwoman. Change your mindset. You change your mindset. Listen, as long as you are saying that you can't, you won't. But when you start saying that you can, you will. And that's just it. It's as simple as that. And granted, it's other steps. Like you got to make some decisions, some hard decisions. You got to let go of people, places, and things that are no longer serving you. Yeah, you got to do all of those kind of things. But it starts with you saying, I can. And that's exactly what I did. I was just like, I was looking at my budget. And I wasn't going beyond my budget. In my mind, I wasn't going beyond my budget. It wasn't that I was broke. I just was I was on this budget. And my budget, how I was looking at it was just like, this budget is all the money I have. I wasn't thinking beyond that. I wasn't thinking like, girl, create more money. I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't thinking, go, if you hire these people, then that will help you to create more money. You know, it will free up your time so you can shine in your brilliance, you know, those kind of things. So Superwoman, the syndrome, it's not serving you. It's time to let it go. And that's what I got for you today. So how do you protect your bag? That's how you protect your bag. You start allowing accountants, virtual assistants, attorneys, start consulting attorneys, asking attorneys questions, all those things. That's how you protect your bag. And you want to protect your bag because you got the bag and you paid the price to get that bag. And so thank you, Haley, for having me.
I agree wholeheartedly with every single thing you're saying.
Yay!
Protect yourself, protect your energy, guard it wisely. Because
Yes.
you can't be the superwoman if you run yourself into the ground.
At all. At all.
No, there won't be a business.
It won't be a business. You have nothing or no one to serve because you no longer exist or you're incapacitated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've seen way too many women that have run themselves right into adrenal fatigue and into the ground and had to go back to a job just so they could function and survive. So
yeah,
awesome stuff. That, you know, that is not an awesome outcome. That's not what we're trying for. We're trying for success here.
Success. Oh, that's another double S. Successful Superwoman. That's another S. Your chest, Superwoman.
I like it. I love it so much. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been an honor and a pleasure. And I'm just so excited to have had everybody here today. And I hope to see you guys again in a few weeks.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Take care. Bye-bye.